Mayong hapon mga kaigsunan. Maghimo ko og mubo nga summary o personal observation may tungod sa bersikulo nga gisgutan sa atong mga kaigsunan nga ilang gisgutan sa miaging adlaw. May tungod sa gisulat ni Pablo ngadto sa Filipos kapitulo 4 bersikulo 1 ngadto sa bersikulo 9. Unas tanan akong gipasalamatan ang mga batan-on nga nihatag silang panahon sa pagtuon o sa padayag sa ilang hunahuna o pagbati may tungod sa mensahe nga ilang giandam. I am proud to be your pastor, and I think it is appropriate to say that you have actually learned in the church. Usa ka dakong kalipay nako nga doon na mo'y nakatunan sa iglesia. Dako ang akong kalipay o gani pagdayeg sa Ginoo nga doon na kamoy nakatunan o ang inyong gisulti sa mensahe nga inyong gipadayag doon ay dakong kahulugan alang kanako o nalipay kayo ko nga kamo doon ay pagtubo diha sa Ginoo. Busa akong usbon nalipay kayo ko sa mga kaigsunan nga nihimo niadto. Tingali himo na to ni susunod di gayon o nga dunay uban tingali nga wa pang makaapil pwede na sad nato silang paapilon. Og salamat sa Ginoo niya. Niya nga akong summary mag-igsunan kini akong summary tingali mga 30 to 40 minutes pero akong paningkamutan nga dili kayo mutaas tungod kay kini review naman lamang sa atong nakatunan. If you will remember this message on Philippians chapter 4, I have already spoken about this on November 18, 2018. Unya, duha ka message man usban ako sa November 25, 2018. But anyway, dili man tingali kayo daghan nato ang nagtimaan sa pizza. Ako lamang gipahinumduman nga kini ato nang diskutan sa miaging mga bulan o ganito Ang mensahe mga kaigsunan may kalabutan sa mga butang nga niya sa atong una-una nga moabot ka nato wala damha o nga kini mag-angayan nga atong matngunan tungod kay kung wala ta makabantay niini mahimo nga mo affect kini sa atuhang mga behavior. Think on these things ng si Apostle Pablo. Almost a generation ago sa dihang nagsugod pa lamang ta og expose sa computer. The computer revolution had begun. And the pioneers of this field had invented a brand new word alang sa niadtong mga maayo kay computer. Niadtong mga panahon sa pagsugod pa lamang sa computer ka ibalo mo wala pa biya ni nato maabot kining laptop, wala pa ni maabot ang cellphone nga kining atong gigunitan nga cellphone pwede ra natong magamit sa internet. Kaniadto ang computer tag dinagko kayo tag usa ka lamesa tag usa ka kabinet ang gidakon o tungod kay bag-o pa lamang nato ni many of us had made many mistakes. Sometimes those beginners have discovered that it is very hard to learn and usahay ang atoang ma-encode or whatever term na imong magamit dili mao. And so the universal truth is this: if the raw data is bad, the computer cannot do anything good with it. What you put into the computer determines what comes out. And if you have put the right data in, the right answers come out. The reverse is also true. Kung ang imong gisud sayop nga data, ang mugawas niya na sayop sad nga data. And in order to express the truth, they have coined a new word for this. It describes in 4-letter words, in 4 letters, the cause and consequences of putting the wrong data into the computer. Nahibaw sila, ganit kamo nga mga suito ka is computer, nahibaw tingali mo nining word nga gaygo, kining garbage in, garbage out. Those 4 letters summarize a huge truth about computers. What you put in determines what you get out. If your input is garbage, of course, the output will be garbage. Kung unsa ang tinuod sa computer, mausad ang katinuod sa atong human mind. What you put into your mind determines what you get out. Kining maong comparison, ang ngayon ni sa atong human mind tungod kay matud pa, the human mind has often been compared to a computer. In fact, the human mind is far more complex than the most advanced computer ever designed. But the basic principle of GIGO is still true. Garbage in, garbage out. Matud pa sa mga scientists or mga inunta psychologists, nahibalo ba mo nga ang average person has about 10,000 separate thoughts each day that will work out to be 3.5 million thoughts a year. If you live to be 75, you will have over 26 million different thoughts. If you are 25, say for example today, you are 25 years old, there will be 8 million different thoughts nga mo come across imong mind. O nga kini dili sayon. Almost all of us, inunta, halos, kita tanan ingnon na lang nato. Most of you have had 2,000 separate thoughts since we got out from bed this morning. And you will probably have another 8,000 thoughts before you hit the bed tonight. So good na sa the following day. Kitang tanan, doon ay pipila ka mga una-una nga either giplano o doon na sa una-una nga wala na ito naman niabot sa itong una-una. And I think you can attest to that. You have experienced that. In fact, even when you are praying, some thoughts will come into your mind nya mo na maka-distract, maka-isturbo sa imo una-una. And dili nato kamahayan atong kabalingon tungod kay kita tao lang man busa dunay mosulod ng mga una nga usay una nga dili maayo o nga kon atong pasagdan mahimo nga kini maka-afektar sa atong mood sa puton ta masuk-anon ta o dili kay ta malipay sa nitabo. But your thoughts are really important. Importante ba yung kaha nga atong una? Are your thoughts really so important? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Beware of what you set your mind on because that you will surely become." Munsya, beware of what you set your mind on because that you surely will become. Norman Vincent Peale said, "Change your thoughts and you change the world." Then another person by the name of Betty Sakili, ningon siya, two thoughts cannot occupy the mind at the same time. So the choice is ours whether or not our thoughts will be constructive or destructive. Dili pwedeng magdungan ang daghan sa una-una, kundi it comes to you one at a time. O sa una-una maabot, taod lain na sa una-una maabot ka na to. Ingon si Betty, you cannot have two thoughts at the same time na mususi mo una-una. Gani kung musulod na maglibog ka o gani you're not comfortable with it. But I'll go with what Norman Vincent Peale said, although dili tanan nga iyang gisulti akong dawaton, but I like what he said here. Change your thoughts and change the world. And this should be the context of my exhortation today. My whole message or summary is in these four words: the choice is ours. Kumusta man ang imong thought life, Christian? Brothers or sisters, kumusta man ang imong thought life? But kung hisgutan makausa, unas tanan ang dunay upat ka matang sa negative thinking. So many people struggle with negative thinking. Negative thoughts poison the mind and ultimately the soul. Here are four common examples of negative thinking. Number one, self-pity. Kitang tanan doon na niini. Maingon ta nga, lisod kayo akong kinabuhi, may arang-arang mo kay maayo mo, ako lisod kaayo, maglisod mi, lisod kayo kinabuhi. Sometimes maabot sa extent nga maingon nga, nganong hayahay man sila, nganong ako lisod man. Nganong nga sila arang-arang man og kinabuhi, nganong ako lisod man. And then we begin to to pity ourselves. Maluoy ta. Pagkaluoy sa akong mga anak, dili kakaon og tarong, ang sila naghinubra ilang mga pagkaon. And then we begin to say that God is probably unfair. No? While our neighbors are basking in sunshine, kita niya, sige lang tagpasinguan. And so, you begin to have pity sa imong kaugalingon. Sunod, kay naluoy kasi mong kaugalingon, mulahos ka nga to sa pagmahay sa uban. From self-pity, you begin to blame other people. And this is the other extreme. Blaming is an attempt to find a scapegoat for your problems. You cannot face life on your own. So you find another person who seems to be the source of your problem. Imong basulon ang imong mga tingali. It might be your husband or wife. Or it could be your children or your parents. It often is a friend, sometimes it could be a neighbor, or your boss, or sometimes people in church. Blaming is dangerous because it leads to perpetual victimhood. You feel that you're a victim. And so, kung imo nag-entertain kining una from self-pity to blaming, mulahos ka nga to, mulusot ka nga to sa gitawag na tong unwillingness to change. This more or less follows from the first two categories. Once you immerse yourself in self-pity, and once you discover that you are a victim, the logical conclusion is that you cannot or you won't change. Unfortunately, this type of negative thinking tends to reinforce itself. Since you cannot change, then your behavior cannot be your fault. Ako ba dahil sa ni nga luoy man kayo ko. So, you will never have to face it honestly. Wala ka na'y katarong nga imong tan-awon ang sitwasyon sa imong gagalingon. You cannot change. And then, hantod mo abot ka sa extreme mo ingon, I have every right to be heard. And that's why I'm not giving up. Doon na magay uban akong nadunggan, giningon sila. Sa uman kay gihatag man is Ginoo na kung ani ko. So ngun ani lang yug ko. No, you don't say that because walay imposible sa tubangan sa Dios. Ang atong behavior, atong kinaiya, atong attitude mahimong usbon sa Dios kung doon na tayo willing sa pag-usap. Now, from self-pity, blaming, unwillingness to change, mo resulta kini og anger and bitterness. This is the logical outcome. Once you begin to pity yourself, you become a victim. And you begin to blame other people. And so you refuse to face the possibility that you yourself are the source of your own problems. Nya kung dunay moingon gani nga ikaw may nakaingon rasad, and you become angry. You become defensive. In fact, you become bitter. You remember every miserable thing that has happened to you. Imong gi pasanginlan ang tanan antod nga ikaw wala nay mahimo sa magugalingon. But your thoughts matter. Negative thinking leads to negative living. Sa pikas nga bahin, doon na sa gitaw na tong positive thinking. Na kini, doon ay maayo sa ang positive. Doon ay doktrina kining mga positive thinkers nga lahi na dili ko makadawat sa ilang pagtulunan apan sa sila mga maayong butang nga ilang i-share kanato. So ingon ini. It is an option for us. And our text reveals that possibility. Si Dr. Norman Vincent Peale wrote a bestseller entitled The Power of Positive Thinking. But he is not the only person who taught positive thinking. Dili ko mutuo nga siya mo'y naguna. In fact, somebody else started this thing, and that is the person of the Apostle Paul. And that honor should go to the Apostle Paul. At the end of this letter to the Philippians, Paul gives a prescription for positive thinking that, if followed, it has the power to transform your life. You listen to his practical advice in verse 8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, he said, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, ingon siya, think about these things. This verse gives us something that we should remember. And before you think, and before you speak, you ask this question. Ingon si Apostol Pablo, whatever is true. You ask this question, is it true? Truth is the first test. Knox translates it this way, all that rings true. Before you open your mouth, are you speaking the truth? Do your words have the ring of truth about them? This question rules out all that is dishonest, all that is untrue, and unreliable. So the first question should be this, is this true? Kiningon si Apostol Pablo, whatever is true. Kung sa bagay ang true. So you have to ask this question, is this true? And the next question should be, is it noble? Whatever is noble. The word means honorable. It is worthy of reverence. It refers to that which is majestic and awe-inspiring. One person translated it as noble seriousness. This word is used in another place to describe the proper qualities of an elder. Is your thought life honorable? Do you ponder things that are noble and of serious purpose? Or do you dwell on the frivolous and trivial? You know, I have seen a lot of people, in fact, pastors, nga wala na'y kaseryoso sa ilang istorya. Wala na'y kaseryoso sa ilang mga statements. I like jokes. Of course, kamo nga magkaigsuunan sa iglesia, you know me. So I'm joke ko. Ganahan ko mo joke because I want to laugh. I like to laugh. But there are times that you have to be serious. Serious about the things of life. And so, this is what it means. Sa diyang niingon sa Apostol Pablo, whatever is noble, think on these things. The word noble means, as I have said, it is worthy of reverence. Doon ay mga butang nga, dili nato mahimong yaga-yagaan. Mga butang nga seryoso, dili nato yaga-yagaan. Is it noble? Is it worthy of reverence? And the next question should be, yung sa Apostol Pablo, whatever is right. So we ask, what is right? Is it right? This means in conformity to God's standards. Dili kay, is it right in my eyes? Is it right in the eyes of others? But is it right in God's eyes? That should be the question. If your thoughts were broadcast for the whole world to hear, would you be ashamed and embarrassed? If others knew what you were thinking, what would they think of you? Kung nakibaw pa sila sa imong ginauna, malipay ka kaha. Because sometimes we think of some things na kung naibawaan pa lang nila, maulaw ka itanaw, may bawaan. Now, whatever is pure, the next. Is it pure? The word means undefiled, clean and holy. I cannot remember kung kinsa ang dala ni ini. Whatever is pure, purity. I cannot remember anymore, but nindot kayo ang pagsaysay, you know. The word means undefiled, lunsay, walay sambog, mo niyang kahulugan. It touches the whole area of moral purity. Is your thought life clean? We used to say, get your mind out of the gutter. If you live in the gutter, don't be surprised that your mind is covered with slime. Kung gusto kang maghinlo, kung gusto kang dili manimaho ang imong lawas sa hugaw, ayaw puyo ka uban sa mga baboy. Kinahanglan nga magpalayo ka. And these are questions that needs to be asked by all of us. So, these are proving questions. Questions nga kung imo hunahon mga kaigsunan, maghatag ka na itong paghinuktok, atong hinuklugan, kung tinuod ba kiningingon ni Apostol Pablo. Have all my financial dealings been filled with integrity? Have I spent adequate time in Bible study and prayer? Have I spent quality time with and given priority to my family? Have you given time, precious time to your family? Have I fulfilled the mandates of my calling? Have I just lied to you? Kini bang akong ginaistorya ninyo? Kini ginaistorya ba nako sa akong mahigala? Tinuod ba ka ni or binutbot ba lang ni? There should be some seriousness. That's why Paul said, whatever is noble, it has something about seriousness. Ug salamat sa Ginoo mga kaigsunan that we have learned a lot in church. Salamat sa Ginoo nga kitang tanan nakakaton. That's why If possible, dili nato mahimong sipyaton ang iglesia. Because we learn in church. Usay sa atong kabisi, dili ta wala tay time sa pag-ukab sa atong Biblia sa balay. You know, we work the whole day and we come home tired. Sometimes we eat niya pahuway kadiyot matulog na ta. We don't have time. We say a prayer very quickly. Unya, maglisod na ta sa pagtuon sa pulong. That's why I said, let's come to church. Church is very worthy ng imong adtuan. So, is it lovely? Sunod nga question, whatever is lovely ningon si Apostle Paul, is it love? The word is used only here in the New Testament. It literally means love towards. It has the idea of attracting loveliness as a magnet attracts iron. Do you attract loveliness in your life? One person translated it as those things that grace attracts. Do your thoughts automatically attach themselves to that which is beautiful and lovely? Na mga kaigsunan, doon na tayo mga panahon nga kita moingon, usay moingon ta ni anang usa ka person, I like him. Ganahan kay ko niya magkuyog-kuyog. Naaganan ni siya murag nindot kayo ang atmosphere. Pero sa pikas nga bahin, doon na sa mga tao nga moingon ta, moabot na gani si niya na sad ang kontrabida di kay ko ganahan na niya. You know, and that's, I think you've experienced it. I have experienced it too. Doon na yung mga tao nga ganahan kay itang kuyugo na to. We like their spirit. Dili ka ita magproblema kung naa sila. In fact, ang ilang espiritu makapadani ka na to. This is what it means when Paul said whatever is lovely, whatever is something that attracts people. And it is my prayer that our lives as Christians, especially members of the Abundant Life Christian Fellowship, our lives should be attractive to other people. Hinaot nga ang atong kinabuhi dili kay mo palayo sa ubang magkatauhan. Ganahan kay kung maminaw kanang testimony mo ingon, ako nagpasalamat sa Ginoo tungod kay kung wala pa ni brother or sister, sila mo nagdala kanako sa Ginoo. I like that. Moalibwag ang akong kalipay mga kaigsunan sa diha makadungog ko ang atong kinabuhi na himong attractive alang sa uban. And so kung doon na may mga panahon mga kaigsunan nga moabot nga daw ganahan ang itang mo sukol o niya mo explode, hinaot nga atong mapugan atong gagalingon, because you see whatever words that comes out of your mind unya wa nimo na mabantay, it will hurt people. It mo sumbalik sila unya dili na sila ganahan. And so my challenge today is, you know, if it is possible, before you open your mouth, there's a need for us to edit our words. Atong i-edit so that you simply delete the non-admirable things from your vocabulary. Let us mag-practice taog gamit sa mga pulong nga makadani nga dunay attraction sa uban nga maganahan kay silang maminaw nato. You know, ako nahinduman mga kaigsunan nga dunay mga panahon nga kita sa atong kasuko, sa atong kalagot, dili na lang ta magpanagana nga mosulti og mga pulong unya wa ta kibaw nga mga pulong diay nga nigawas kanato, nakapapangdol na, nakapasilo na sa uban. Let us magbantay ta mag-igsunan. Gani sa usahay sa atong kasuko, mga butang ba nga wala nato, una-una ang atong isulti, nasulti nato. Kung nakasinati mo niya na mag-igsunan sa atong kasuko, ato linon nga na ako na lang isulti ang tinuod. Unya paghuman, igo ta naka-realize, I should not have said that word. Apan mga kaigsunan, you know, let me give you an illustration about this. Matud pas usa, dili kinahanglan nga imong ablihan ang takob sa septic tank. Kasabot man ta kung sa septic tank kanang puduhanan sa atong hugaw. Dili kinahanglan nga imong ablihan ang septic tank aron may bawo nimong baho bagyod. Kay nasayod biya ka nga baho gyud ang septic tank. You don't have to open up the septic tank in order to know it stinks. O magpabilin siyang sirad-an tungod kay naa diha ang kabaho ug ang kahugaw. Kita sad mga kaigsunan, dunay mga butang nga dili kinahanglang ipadayag sa publiko mga tungkin. Dunay mga butang nga we better keep it to yourself matud pa nila. Dili mahimo nga imong iyagyag ang tanang kahugaw o baho. That's what Paul meant when he said attractiveness, noble. Nga ang atong kinabuhi dili nato pasagdan, patuyang atong pasagdan ang atong mga pulong. No, kitang tanan, salamat sa Ginoo na tayo mga balay. You know, a house has a living room. It has also a toilet, right? And both are essential for life. But which one do we display? Which one do we display? We show people our living room and not the bathroom or toilet. Doon na ba'y usan nato dinhi nga maingon, uy, salamat ni duaw ka, salamat kini bisita ka, ares among kasilyas. You don't say that. You don't do that. You know, atong ipakita ang living room, dili ang kasilyas. Many people grow roses in the front yard. Dili man ka magtanong og rosas dito sa atok aron may makakita. You plant trees and flowers in front of your house, sa imong lagwerta, aron makita nila na. Unya, doon na sad sila'y linya, kita, atong mga balay, doon na po'y linya nga tubo nga padung sa ato ang septic tank, sewer. We put roses in our front yard, pero ang atong septic tank, atong tabunan na yuta, di ba? Dili na to ablihan kanunay everyday. Doon ay gamayng lungag na, aron nga kung atong habwaon doon ay mag-aagi. Ato nang tabunan. Aron nga halos dili makita ang septic tank. Ingon niya na ang kinabuhi mag-igsoon. You know why? Because something simply should not be put on public display. Dili nimo iyagyag ang imong mga bulingon sa tubangan. Dili nimo iyagyag sa tubangan sa mga tao ang tanan nimong mga bulingon nga naa sa sud sa kwarto. That's what it means when Paul said, whatever things that are noble kining attractiveness. Hinaot nga ang atong kinabuhi may mong attractive. And then, if that's not enough, the apostle gives us two catch-all categories. He said, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, is it morally excellent? And then is it something that God would approve or praiseworthy? You know, when you take these words together, these 8 words will point the way towards positive thinking. Paul said, think on these things. You know, it is a command. Na tagaan mo na ko og you know, this is actually a study. If you are listening, ayan i-delete ang video. This is very good. You can use this, you know, when you study. These words sa dihang mingon sa Apostol Pablo, whatever things that are lovely, niya pagkuman siya, think on these things. And the last part, ingon siya, think on these things, it is in the imperative mood. When the Greek is in the imperative mood, that means the verb is a command. It is a command. Wala mag-ingon si Apostol Pablo nga whatever things that are lovely are pure good report. Ingon siya nga, wa siya mag-ingon nga, hunahunaan ni, tanawan ninyo maayo ba ni? No, wa siya mag-ingon na. But he said, whatever things are lovely, etc. Ingon siya, think on these things. The word think is in the present imperative. That means it is a command. Wa siya maghangyo. Wa siya mo suggest. It is not a suggestion. It is not even a prayer, but he said it is a command. Think on the hunaunaan ni pag-ayo. Dili ka ingon nga hunaunaon lang nimo makahigayon. Think on these things. And then it is not only in the imperative tense, but it is in the present tense. Present imperative tense. When you say it is present, that means it is a continuous action. You just don't think today and not think about it tomorrow. You just don't think about this when you are comfortable. But you think on these things in the present mood. It means keep on focusing your thoughts in these 8 areas. Keep focusing. Don't stop. Continue sa una-una mag-igsunan. You find the true and think about it. You find the noble and think about it. You find the lovely and think about it. You find the virtuous and think about it. And then, do it. Ningon si Apostol Pablo. I don't know, kisa ba nag-ingon sa do it? I think si Limuel Mantingali, ningon siya. Think, or do it. You see, si Paul, wa siya mag-ingon nga, kung ganahan kayo, think on these things. Apa ningon siya, think on these things. Command, it is a command. And then he said, do it. And that is will be my challenge today. Do it. Don't just think about this when you feel comfortable. Don't just think about these things when your environment is conducive to good thinking. think about these things. Finally, bot lang ko nga mga tanang mga kaigsunan. Has there been a time in your life nang imong una dili takdo sa kabubuton sa Dios? I have that. Nga usahay when I pray about love, I pray about love towards my enemy. Maglagot ni noon ko. Maguna-una sa ilang gibuhat na ako, maglagot ni noon ko. And sometimes I pray for God's peace to be upon my mind. And then suddenly, maabot ang kagubot nga, unsaon na lang itong ako mga bayranan, unsaon na lang itong ako. The devil can interrupt, and he will do his best to interrupt your mind. But let us practice putting this in our mind with things that are lovely, good report, praiseworthy, kind, honest, or whatever. All those virtues, think about these things. And so let me ask you, this week, the past few days, the past month, what about the music that you listen to? What about the movies that you watch? And what about the videos that you rent? What about the radio stations nga inyong ginapaminawan every morning? Unsa man nga mga dialogue ang ganahan nimong paminawan? Kinsa man sa mga commentators ang ganahan nimo? Nganong ganahan ka man niya? Ganahan ka tungod kay mamalikas siya? What about the books that you read? And what about the shows that you watch on TV? What about the conversations that you have at work? What about the phone calls that you make? What about the people that you go with? Sa panahon nga ikaw mag-snack or manglakaw mo, unsa man nga matang sa mga tao imong kuyo. What about the places that you go to on weekends? What kind of places do you go to? What about your secret habits? What about your hobbies? And what about your daydreams? Bagmat ngunta mag-igsunan kung unsay atong girehistro sa atong una. And what about the things that you do when you're away from home? And what about the magazines that you read in the library? And what about the kind of letters that you write? Si Apostol Pablo mag-igsunan ningon siya sa 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 5. We should take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Let this mind that is in our mind be in subjection to the mind of God. Ginalumpag namo ang mga pangatarungan ug ang tanang mapahitas-ong babag nga nagaalibatok sa kahibalo sa Dios. Ug ginabihag namo ang tanang pangunauna aron kini magmasinugtanon kang Kristo Jesus. In order to do that, you've got to look at the sources of your input. Unsa may imong gisulod sa imong nauna. What is it? If you really want your life to be changed, let us change it with the power of God. Today, you may be suffering spiritually because, you only come to church when you feel comfortable. Yeah. You spend an hour or less. Uli na ka. Or maybe you simply fill your mind with spiritual junk food all the week. We spend all our time sa trabaho, asa diha makadungog kag mga istorya dili may the whole week, and then you only have about 1 hour and a half or 2 hours at church. So gamay kaayo ra ang panahon nga makakaton ta sa pulong sa Ginoo. So ingon ini mga kaigsunan, today I want to challenge you. Remember, you are not what you think you are, but what you think you are. So this brings back to where we have started. Kung imong sudlag basura ang imong nauna, ang mugawas sa basura sa. Proverbs 23 verse 7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let us think honestly, noble, with respect and praiseworthy. Because I know that if you think that we can do it, we can do it. If you think angry thoughts, angry words will follow. If you fill your mind with dirty and fantasies, bati kayo si muna-una. Mangita kag paagi nga matuman ni mo ni, and that's bad. If you feel like a victim, soon you will become one. If you dwell on your problems, they will soon overwhelm you. But today, let us not allow dirty thoughts that comes to our mind. Whatever comes into our minds, it comes out. But today, the flip side is also true. If you focus on the truth, you will speak the truth. If you look on noble things, nobility will mark your life. If you seek out lovely things, your life will be lovely to others. If you dwell on that which is right, that which is wrong will have no attraction to you. If you think on pure things, you will become pure. If you look for virtue, you will find it. If you search for higher things, you will elevate your own life. Think on these things, Paul said. And then he said, do it. Salamat sa Diyos, mga kaigsuunan. I know that you have the power. I have the power by the grace of God. Tonight, let us allow God to work in our hearts. Because when Jesus reigns in our heart, we have the power to do it. We will love the good and will hate the bad. You will love the truth and hate the falsehood. You will love the lovely and hate the ugly. You will love the lovely, you love the pure and you hate the dirty. What is dirty, you will begin to hate it. When Jesus reigns in your life, you will love the lovely and hate the ugly. So today, brothers and sisters, my exhortation is simple. Hold on to Jesus Christ. Think about Him. Rest in Him and live in Him. You know, I remember the song we used to sing in church when we were still a young Christian. It is no secret what God can do. What He has done for others, He will do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. I thank God for this privilege. Let us think on these lovely things by the grace of God. God bless you all. Mag-igsunan sa iglesia sa Banawa o sa Konsolasyon. Ang Diyos maga panalangin.